Have you ever looked at your old coins and wondered if any of them might be worth a fortune? Well, today, you're going to hear about one special coin that has turned regular people into lucky owners of a treasure. It's the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar. This coin might look like any other small silver dollar, but a rare version of it has sold for up to $78,000. Yes, you heard that right, $78,000 for just $1 coin. Some have sold for $25,000, some for $43,000, and a few have reached that amazing $78,000 mark at big coin auctions. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin so special. Back in 1979, the United States Mint created a brand new dollar coin. It was smaller than the previous dollar coins and made to be easier to carry and use. It had a picture of Susan B. Anthony on it, who was a famous leader for women's rights. This was the first time a real woman appeared on a U.S. coin, which made it a very important moment in history. But the coin didn't become very popular. A lot of people confused it with a quarter because of its size and color. So even though they made many of them, most people didn't use them every day. But here's where the story gets exciting. In 1979, the Mint made special versions of this coin just for collectors. These coins are called proof coins. They're made with extra care and have a shiny, mirror-like finish. Proof coins are not made for spending, they're sold in collector sets and usually kept in perfect condition. These 1979 proof coins were made at the San Francisco Mint, and they have a small S on them to show where they were made. Now, this is where the rare and valuable version comes in. There are two types of S marks on these coins. One is called the filled S, where the letter S looks thick or kind of blurry. This is the more common version. But there is another version called the clear S, where the letter S is sharp, clear, and easy to read. The clear S happened because the Mint used a different tool by mistake. Only a small number of these clear S coins were made before the mistake was caught and fixed. These clear S proof coins are now called the 1979 S-Type $2. And they are very, very rare. Because only a few exist, collectors are willing to pay big money to own one, especially if the coin is in perfect condition. Some of these rare coins have been graded as PR70 DCAM, which means they are basically flawless. And these are the ones that can reach $25,000, $43,000, or even more than $78,000 at auction. Even if the coin isn't perfect, it can still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So how do you know if you have this rare coin? First, check the year on your coin. It must say 1979 and have an S mint mark. Remember, these were not regular coins that people used every day. They came in proof sets, special sets sold by the U.S. Mint to collectors. If you or someone in your family ever bought proof coin sets from the late 70s, now is the time to check them. Take a good look at the dollar coin in that set. Next, look closely at the S mint mark. You might need a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to see it clearly. If the S looks thick, soft, or filled in, it's probably the more common version. But if the S is sharp, neat, and clearly shaped like the letter S, then you might have something special. It could be the rare Type 2 coin. If you think you have one, don't clean it. Don't try to make it look shinier or newer. Cleaning a coin can ruin it and lower its value. Instead, send it to a coin grading company like PCGS or NGC. They will carefully inspect your coin, grade its condition, and tell you what type it is. If it turns out to be a Type 2 in top condition, then congratulations, you may be holding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. What makes this story so exciting is that many people don't even know this rare version exists. It was a small mistake by the Mint, and it took collectors time to even notice the difference. But once they did, the value of this rare coin started going up fast. And now, years later, it has become one of the most wanted coins from the 1970s. Imagine finding one of these coins in a box of old stuff from your parents or grandparents. Or maybe you bought a proof set a long time ago and forgot all about it. Now that set could be hiding a small coin that's worth more than a car or even a house payment. That's why coin collecting can be so much fun, and sometimes even life-changing. So go ahead, take a look at your coin collection. Ask your parents or grandparents if they ever bought proof sets. Look for 1979 sets with the S mint mark on the dollar coin. Check that mint mark carefully. You never know, you might just discover a coin that could change your life. Stories like this remind us that sometimes, rare treasures are hiding in plain sight. A tiny mistake made in 1979 has now become a golden opportunity for collectors and lucky finders. That little S mint mark can mean the difference between a regular dollar and a $78,000 jackpot. Let's start with a little background. In 1979, the U.S. Mint released a brand new dollar coin. It was meant to be smaller, lighter, and easier to use than the older Eisenhower dollar, which was big and heavy. The new coin featured Susan B. Anthony, a famous leader for women's rights. It was the first time a real woman, not Lady Liberty, appeared on a U.S. coin, so that made it historic. The coin was made in 3 places: Philadelphia, marked with a P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The P version, made in Philadelphia, is the most common of all. Millions of them were made, over 360 million in total. So most of these coins are worth just $1 or maybe a little more if they're in good condition. But don't give up just yet. There are still some rare or special versions of the 1979 P dollar that collectors are hunting for, and some of them are worth a lot more than face value. One of the most important things to look for on the 1979 P dollar is the wide rim variety. Most 1979 P coins have what's called a narrow rim, which means there's a noticeable gap between the edge of the coin and the numbers and the date. But on the wide rim version, that space is smaller, the numbers are closer to the edge of the coin. This might sound like a small difference, but it makes a big difference in value. The wide rim was only made for a short time before the mint changed the design to the more common narrow rim. Because of that, the wide rim version is much harder to find. It's considered a key variety, meaning serious collectors want it to complete their collection. A 1979 P wide rim dollar in perfect, uncirculated condition has sold for $500 to $1,500 or more. Even a nice one that's not perfect can still bring in $100 to $300 depending on the market. So how do you tell the difference? It's easy once you know what to look for. Take your 1979 P dollar and look at the date, especially the space between the 1 and the edge of the coin. If the numbers seem far from the rim, you have the common narrow rim. But if the numbers are closer and the space is tighter, you might have the rare wide rim. Another thing that can raise the value of a 1979 P dollar is the condition. Coin collectors are very picky about condition, and they grade coins from poor, P1, all the way up to perfect, MS 70. MS stands for mint state, and MS 65 or higher means the coin looks almost brand new. If your coin is scratched, worn out, or has dents, it's probably just worth $1. But if it looks shiny, clean, and well cared for, it could be worth more, especially if it's a wide rim or has an error. Now let's talk about errors. Sometimes coins are made with mistakes at the mint. These are called error coins, and collectors go wild for them. Some examples of 1979 P errors include off-center strikes, where the design is printed partly off the coin. Double dies, where the lettering or image looks doubled. Clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing like it was cut wrong. Die cracks or cuts, raised lines or blobs on the coin from broken dies. If you find a 1979 P dollar with one of these mistakes, it could be worth hundreds of dollars, depending on how big and rare the error is. The cooler and more visible the mistake, the more collectors will pay. Even regular 1979 P dollars can be valuable if they've been graded by a professional company like PCGS or NGC, especially in high mint state grades. A coin graded MS 67 or higher could sell for $100, $200, or more, even without being a wide rim. Coins in top condition are much harder to find because most of these were used in everyday life and got scratched or worn down. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar? First, look at the rim. If it's the wide rim, you may have something special. Next, check the condition. Is it scratched and dull, or is it shiny and sharp? Then, consider looking for any weird marks, doubling, or off-center images. These could be error coins. If your coin looks special or rare, you might want to send it to be graded. PCGS and NGC are the top grading services in the US, and they can give your coin a grade and put it in a protective case. That way, collectors can trust the grade and will be more willing to pay top dollar. So now you know, that little 1979 P dollar coin you've had sitting in a drawer might not just be spare change. It could be a valuable collector's item, especially if it's the wide rim version or has an error. These coins may not be as famous as gold coins or old silver dollars, but to the right collector, they're pure treasure. Before you spend that old dollar coin, take a good look. You might just be holding something worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And all it takes is knowing what to look for, the rim, the condition, and any mistakes. Let's go back to where it all started. In 1979, the US Mint introduced a new kind of dollar coin. Before that, we had the large Eisenhower dollar, which was too big and heavy for most people to use. So, in an effort to create something easier to carry, the Mint made a smaller dollar featuring Susan B. Anthony, a well-known American woman who fought for women's rights and the right to vote. This made her the first real woman ever shown on a U.S. coin. The new coin was made in 3 places: Philadelphia, P, San Francisco, S, and Denver, D. If your coin has a small D mark on it, that means it was made at the Denver Mint. That's why it's called the 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar. Over 288 million of these coins were made in Denver that year, so they are not rare just because of the mint mark or the date. However, not all 1979 D coins are the same. A few things can make them more valuable to coin collectors. Let's go over the main things to look for: condition, errors, and grade. The first thing that can make your 1979 D dollar valuable is its condition. If your coin was used in everyday life, passed from hand to hand, tossed in pockets, or dropped in jars, it probably has scratches, dings, or wear. These coins are still worth just $1. But if your coin is in near perfect condition, that's another story. A coin that looks brand new, with no wear or damage, is called uncirculated and may be worth more. Coin experts use a scale from 1 to 70 to grade coins. A coin that grades MS 65, MS 66, or higher, MS means mint state, is considered very high quality. A 1979 D coin graded MS 67 or MS 68 by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can sell for $100, $300, or even more, especially if it has strong details and a shiny, clean surface. In fact, some of the highest graded examples have sold at auction for over $1,000. That's a huge jump from just $1. But it gets even better, because some of these coins have errors, and that's where things can get really interesting. So, what kinds of errors should you look for? Here are a few types of coin mistakes that have shown up on 1979 D dollars. Off-center strikes. This happens when the coin is not lined up correctly during minting. Part of the design is missing, and it looks uneven or lopsided. The more off-center it is, the more valuable it can be, sometimes worth hundreds of dollars. Double dies. This is when parts of the coin, like the words or numbers, appear doubled. It's a mistake from the die, the stamp that presses the design into the coin. Double dies can be hard to spot without a magnifying glass, but they are very popular with collectors. Clipped planchets. This happens when part of the metal blank used to make the coin is accidentally clipped off. The coin looks like it has a bite taken out of it. These errors are fairly rare and can be worth good money depending on how dramatic they are. Die cracks or cuds. These are raised lines or blobs on the surface of the coin caused by damage to the die. They don't always make a coin valuable, but sometimes they do if the crack is large or dramatic. If you think your coin has an error, or it looks unusual in any way, it's worth having it checked by an expert. You can also compare it to regular 1979 D coins online or in a coin guide to see if there's anything different about yours. The best way to know the true value of your 1979 D dollar is to have it graded by a top grading company like PCGS or NGC. They will carefully check your coin and give it a grade based on condition, quality, and any special features. Once graded, the coin is sealed in a plastic holder with a label showing its details. Collectors trust these grades, and that's how coins sell for high prices at auctions or online. Now you might be thinking, I probably don't have a rare coin. But here's the thing, these valuable coins are out there. Some people find them in old jars, boxes, or bags of coins they inherited from family. Others pick them up at banks or yard sales without even knowing what they have. So before you spend that 1979 D dollar or toss it in your change drawer, take a closer look. Even though most 1979 D Susan B. Anthony dollars are common, the rare high-grade versions and error coins are worth searching for. With just a few minutes of your time and a good eye, you might uncover a coin that's worth 100 times or more what it says on its face. So here's what to do. Look at the mint mark. Make sure your coin has a D for Denver. Check the condition. Is it clean and shiny with no scratches? Look for errors like off-center strikes, doubled letters, or weird shapes. If your coin looks special, don't clean it. Cleaning can ruin its value. Send it to a grading company if you think it might be worth more. Coins are like little time machines. They hold stories from the past, and sometimes, they hold hidden value. The 1979 D Susan B. Anthony dollar might seem plain, but if you know what to look for, it could be your lucky find. So grab a magnifying glass, check your coin jars, and ask your family if they've got any old coins lying around. You never know, your next great discovery might be in your own